All right, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I am so honored to be here with you all. My name is Stacey Sherelle Scott. I am from South Carolina and I am a Juilliard graduate. I got in as a BFA student, and I'm a working professional in this industry in front of the camera and behind the camera. And I have this really lovely business called Setting Your Stage, where we are working on trying to help people do the things that this panel has done, that I have done, and give you all of the insights so that you can do it well. Okay. I want you to succeed. I want you to succeed. So that is why I'm doing this webinar, because I want you to know the things, the behind the scenes that you may or may not know from the people who did it, for the people who have done it. So we're just going to do a really quick introduction here to from the group of who we are, where we are from. So to our panel, our very first question, if you could just give your name, pronouns if necessary, what program you're currently in or graduated from, how many times you went through the audition cycle, and then just give us a little blurb of about who you are, where you're from. So let's start with Serena.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Serena Steinhauer. I'm an international student. I'm from Johannesburg, South Africa, and I am currently an MFA student at the Actor Studio Drama School at Case University. I went through the MFA audition once. I went through the BFA audition process and then completely switched paths into my music degree because I was first in musical theatre. So I did that first, and then I really wanted to focus on my acting, which is why I chose to do my master's in acting. And I went through so many auditions, and Stacey was there for all the rejections, but then she helped me get that one yes. And it brought me to my dream city and my dream country to practice my passion. Um, so yeah, sorry, Stacey, was there another part of that
No, that's
question?
it. That's literally
Oh,
it. And you're a current
yes.
student.
I'm a current student. I'm in my third year. Next semester is my last one. So I've got a lot of, bulk to talk about. So yeah,
Perfect.
that's me. Nice to meet you guys.
Thank you, Serena. Okay, throw it to someone, Serena.
Let's do Johnny.
Hi, everyone. I'm John Evans Reese. I too am from South Carolina. I got my BFA at University of North Carolina School of the Arts, and then I got my MFA at the artist formerly known as Yale School of Drama, now the David Geffen School of Drama at Yale. And I graduated in 2020, and now I am the director of the Summer Conservatory for Actors at Yale. Was there more? Do you need more?
How many times did you audition? Because I think that's
I
really important for
I
the.
auditioned three times.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if I wanted to go to the school. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go to grad school. I was working as an actor. I was working regionally and off Broadway, et cetera, et cetera. So I auditioned every other year, three times in a row, and then went my third time.
Okay, great. And I just want y'all to just, for my group in the chat, just hear that. He said three.
Yeah,
That's a real thing. Okay. And we'll talk about that later, but that's a real thing when auditioning. So thank you. Thank you, Johnny.
of
Love
course.
you.
And now I run the summer program. So
And
what?
now runs a program. Okay. So there's a really, really beautiful lesson and learning in that. So amazing. Thank you, John. Can you please pass it to someone?
Yeah, let's go to Irene.
Hi everyone, my name is Irene. I'm a current BFA student at the Juilliard School of Drama. Um, I'm from Honolulu, Hawaii. I'm a BFA student, so I graduated high school and then I came directly here, which I'm very fortunate to have done. And yeah, that's me. Pass it to Derek.
What's up, family? My name is Derek Jackson. I'm originally from Boston. I'm in my third year as an MFA at the Juilliard School. I also did not want to go to grad school. I wasn't sure about that. I went to undergrad at a school called Cal Arts in California, and was working a little bit after school and auditioned for NYU in 2020, got in, and this little thing called the pandemic kind of slowed everything up. So I said, I'm just going to stay in LA for a little bit. And then I went through some life stuff that maybe we can get into later, that just made me shift focus in terms of purpose, and auditioned for NYU and Juilliard was the school that I chose. So yeah, nice to meet you guys.
All right, great. So we have a lovely variety. Setting Your Stage believes in a variety of experience. We have international, we have Yale, we have Juilliard, we have Pace, we have BFA, we have all the flavors. So hopefully the questions that you have for yourself, they will get answered today from these perspectives, okay? So thank you all again so much for being here. Also, thank you all for being here on a Sunday. After the holiday, full of hopefully good food and love and all that good stuff. So let me just take a real quick round robin in that same order. What made you decide to pursue acting? I'm always curious about what makes someone say, let's do this wacky thing called becoming other people in front of other people. So, in that same order, just throwing that, what made you decide, okay, I want to audition and I'm going to take this path of going through schools? And we'll start with Serena.
Yeah, so I think I'm the typical musical theater kid that had the bug bite her very, very young. Grew up on Liza Minnelli and Bette Midler in a little pink bedroom in South Africa, and I was like, wow, I need to be that. And I started singing, I started dancing, I started acting, I started playing piano. I did absolutely everything. I absolutely loved the arts. And there was a moment when I was 13, 14, that I went through something really, really traumatic, actually. And in South Africa, we're known for possibly, contributing a lot to protest theatre and theatre with a social, conscience. Apple Fever, Winston Shona, John Carney are such important figures in our country. And I remember at the time, this musical theatre kid sort of died because of what happened to her. And I was in my drama class, and we were taken on a field trip to go see a particular play called The Tongue, the Third Testament by the South African playwright Lara Foot. And it's about the rape of a 9-month-old baby girl in Soweto, South Africa. And
Trigger
it
warning.
made
So sorry for those. Trigger
trigger
warning.
warning, excuse me. And yeah, it made a profound impact on me. And I saw how theater could offer me not only the joy of performing, but an incredible, incredible sense of catharsis and an incredible sense of this story gave me warmth that I hadn't felt in many, many years or many months, after what happened. And I then shifted my focus to not only do I want to perform, I want to create stories to the best of my ability to offer people that kind of feeling, a larger scope. And in my culture, we have this concept called tikkun olam. I'm a very proud Jewish woman, and that means to make the world a better place. And for me, that was my tikkun olam. I wanted to help in some way, and that's why I really wanted to hone in on my acting and tell multiple stories and do it really, really authentically and truthfully to maybe offer someone like me when I was that young that same feeling. So it was not only the passion coming through of so many years, but it was more an adult sense of purpose and wanting to follow in the footsteps of the practitioners that made my country so proud to have protest theatre and social change and cause and make a difference through my art.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you for that, Serena. And I also want to highlight, yeah, like acting school is really interesting because you can go because you want to be an actor, but then as you're seeing on this panel, even with Johnny, with myself, there's all these other things that also branch out into that too. So thank you for sharing that, Serena. Irene, why did you pursue uh school?
Okay, so my story is a bit different. So I actually didn't start, I guess, acting until I was in my sophomore year of high school
Mhm.
because I grew up, I mean, this might sound very stereotypical, probably because it is, but I grew up in an Asian household and my family stressed academics. I was a very academic kid, got straight A's, if I may say so myself. But I remember when I was little, watching a community theater show. I think they were doing Elf. It was a Christmas production, and I was sat in the audience, and this feeling of like community and euphoria just washed over me, and I wanted to be up there on the stage with them, and I remember that feeling so vividly. And when COVID hit, I was like, I have nothing to do with myself right now. I was locked in my house with my family, and every Friday we would have like TV marathons, but like we watched Chinese dramas. So I watched this show called The Untamed, which is a great show. If anyone wants to watch it, it's a great show. The Untamed. And I remember watching and thinking like, this is still something that I have passion for, that I want to try, because of the sense of community that it creates. Because I mean, COVID was such an isolating time. It was, and so I think now that I'm thinking back on it, it makes sense that I really craved that. So I was like, why don't I just give it a try? So I started. 10th grade, I auditioned for my school's play. Didn't get a very big part. Died in the first scene, but enjoyed every moment of it. And then actually a Juilliard grad came back to Hawaii, and it was on the newspaper, and my mom was like, oh, she's back and she has classes at this community theater, you should go. So then I went, I took the class, I loved her, we connected, and I started taking lessons from her, and I put myself in competitions and tried to hone my craft like that. But it was really a shot in the dark for me because acting was so new to me, and I had applied to all of these other schools that were not acting related, and then I applied to Juilliard for acting, and I was like, my mom was actually the one who convinced me, and she was like, you should try it. And I was like, but it's Juilliard. But she was like, no, but you should try, like you never know. And I'm really grateful for her for that. um, but yeah, I guess my reason for why I do acting is because of the community, because of that. It's like that, what Serena said, that one thing that happens to you that can ignite everything else. Yeah, it's really beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. Derek, take it away. Why did you go to school? Or why did you pursue school? And you have an interesting thing because you got in somewhere, could have went, but decided not to, and then pursued it again. So talk about that.
Yeah. Why the question is why I decided to pursue school or
Well, yeah, I guess acting, but also because we're in this audition, like, why did you choose? Like, why did you want to go for? Because you were working, you were out in the world. Why did you
yeah,
decide I want to go get my degree or try to?
yeah, I think geez, it's a larger story. I'll try to condense it. But yeah, graduated from Cal Arts. I thought that was it. I was about to be a star, baby. I was like, we gonna do this thing. And not quite the case. So I continued working in LA, and that was cool. Um, Somebody had mentioned that NYU was doing walk-in auditions, and I was like, I don't know, we'll see what happens. And then I went further than I expected. Then the pandemic happened, stayed in LA, was going to shift career paths completely and become a youth pastor, which I did for some time. Uh,
Hallelujah.
and then maybe somewhere in the middle of that, my dad had passed away.
Mm.
And right before he had passed away, we didn't have a great relationship. He was addicted to drugs and alcohol. Um, and so we didn't have a great relationship. So while he was on essentially his deathbed before we knew it, I was able to just call him up, tell him that I love him, I forgive him, God loves him, God forgives him. And then I just walked him through this prayer of salvation, and his eyes began to open and he started to smile. And it was this whole moment. And maybe like 3 to 5 minutes after that, he ended up passing away. And when he passed away, this was in 2021. I had already auditioned for NYU and declined grad school and whatever. But when he passed away, I felt all of his like unused, untapped into, undiscovered creative energy transfer into me in a weird way that maybe you won't understand until you have an experience like this. But um, he was an artist in his own right, and he had so many gifts and talents that he wasn't able to pursue because of his addictions. And something that he would always say was never die with your music in you. And so when he passed away, it just kind of set me on this different trajectory in terms of, well, what's the thing that I love to do? What's the thing that like lights me up and sets me on fire? which is acting, which is storytelling, performing, directing, writing. And so I aligned that moment with the pursuit of grad school. I used to hate New York. I was like, I'll never move there. I'm from East Coast. I was like, I'm never going back. LA is where it's at. And it's true, LA is still where it's at. But I was like, if I'm gonna, but I'm like, if I'm gonna go to grad school, I want it to be at one of the ones. And so I applied for NYU and Juilliard again. And um, I was so set on NYU, and most of my favorite actors come from NYU. And then when I went to the Juilliard final callback, I was like, oh, this feels like home. At NYU, I felt like I could build a home, but Juilliard felt like I was there. And that's not to say that it felt comfortable. It just felt like they had something that I didn't yet have. And so yeah, in a nutshell, that's the story. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that. Thank you. John, our resident graduate from the David Geffen School of Drama at Yale, talk to us about what made you pursue school.
Oh gosh, that's such a hard act to follow. That's so beautiful. I'm gonna remember Don't Die with the Music Inside of You for my
That's beautiful.
life. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, thank you for sharing that. Uh, um, uh, so I did my first play in ninth grade, by Tom Stoppard, rest in peace, died yesterday. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead in ninth grade, crazy. Um, and then I went to this boarding arts high school that Stacy and I went to together, and I was sort of on the fence whether I wanted to go to a liberal arts school or pursue conservatory. And then I saw this production of A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen that our former teacher, a Suzuki teacher called Monica Bell, performed. And during the tarantella, it was like totally normal, and she was doing the dance as is. And then the lights changed, and it went like, poof, and this crazy Bjork music started happening, and she worked her way through the audience and was weeping, and the entire uh the rest of the play was going on as normal, but it was just like her visceral experience what was going on, and I was like, I have to do that with my life. So I decided that I would go to conservatory because of that. That's why.
Okay. I mean, and sometimes it's that simple. It's
Yeah.
that pops you in there. And I really wanted to take the time. We are going to move through these next couple of questions, but I really wanted you all to really hear like the genesis of why people go to school. It's, you see, these are all different flavors, but the primary thing, and I say this all a lot of times to my clients and students, the things got to spark up in you. Okay. There's got to be a little bit of a fire, a little bit of a step out on a limb, like even with Irene's story, like, oh, can we do this? There's got to be a little bit of a risk, a little bit of a fire that pops you out. And I promise you, if you follow that, there is success, there's learning. So I really wanted to take the time to really hear everybody's story and knowing that your story matters, your story is important as well as to why you are doing this. And I think it's really important to know why, because this thing can get a little hard or it can get a little, there's rejection, and we're going to talk about that. And if you don't really have a clear why or a clear like core of what this is that's happening, it can get a little spicy. Okay, so great. Thank you all so much for sharing. Please drop your questions in the question box if anything kind of sparks up in you. I know we already have a couple of questions that we'll answer in a little bit. So I'm just actually going to throw this out to anyone can kind of pick this up. Oh, let's do just a really quick round robin. Where did you audition? So New York, Chicago, where did you audition primarily? So we'll just do real quick. In that same order.
Well, I auditioned mainly in New York. I also did New Haven, and Rhode Island, and yeah, that's where
Okay.
I was at. East Coast.
Perfect.
I auditioned in New York for Juilliard, and then I did one audition for USC in LA.
I did all of my auditions in San Francisco.
Okay, good.
I should probably mention, I, like Derek, really thought like my trajectory was going to be, I wanted to go to NYU to Juilliard for grad school, and ended up at Yale because it's just the way that it works out. So I auditioned in New York and in New Haven. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, good. So again, a variety of experience about where people are in the auditions as well. Okay, so just anyone can pick this, talk about this. How did you all choose your material? And not everybody has answered this, but for whomever it kind of pulls out, how did you choose your material, and what do you feel like ended up mattering the most with your material? And we'll take maybe two of you on this one.
I can start. I think what ended up mattering the most was connection to the material, like a reason why, something that, like you said, sparked. And then I also think that like for me, I was aware, having done the grad school process before, I was aware that I was going to spend a lot of time with these monologues.
Mhm.
And so to make, I guess, the outcome of me getting in less important than me actually exploring something in my own life, I chose to pick things that maybe I wanted to get better at. So I could have just more time or more experience. So all my monologues were about love in a different way, especially coming off the heels of my dad's passing. That I was like, oh, I just want to explore love in the different forms that it comes in. So that was kind of like my umbrella theme. And then each one was a different way to kind of pursue those things.
Wow, that's really beautiful. Did y'all hear that? That's so interesting about choosing that and also decentering outcome. Because I think a big thing with this is that there's only a certain amount of slots at a certain amount of schools, right? But decentering outcome is actually really exciting and making it more about the work, uh, less about, okay, we got to get this to get in. So I love that. Thank you, Derek, for sharing that. Who else wants to pop in on that question? How did you choose your material and what do you feel like mattered most? John?
I can pop in because I auditioned so many different times, so each
Sure.
process is a little
Yeah.
different. At first I was like looking for like the most obscure piece. I was reading everything, I was watching everything, and I was like, what is a piece that no one else is going to choose?
Sure.
And then finally, when I got in, it was all about what kind of artist do I want to be in the room and what do I want to show and
Mm.
what do I love the most. So the playwright Sam D. Hunter is like one of my favorite, and like it is my dream to originate a role in one of his plays. So I did one of his plays, and then I ended up doing but soft what light through yonder window breaks, and it was like one of the most well-known pieces in all time, but it just brought me joy and it showed the kind of artist that I wanted to be in the room.
I love that y'all are saying this because there's a lot of strategy and questions around, well, what do we choose? And if it's overdone and blah, 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 blah. But I love, and we talk about this with the coaching, it's got the light, the fire in you. And I love what y'all are saying about what's about what you want to share, not about what they want to see, but about what you want to share as an artist, as a person. I love that. I love that so much. Any other thoughts from Sarita or Irene? And it's okay if not. Okay.
Just yeah, just echoing what everyone said, the fire, like lighting the fire and the connection. Like when for me, I'm just gonna say this really quickly, but when I did my Shakespeare piece from Time and when I read it, it got me excited. Like I wanted to get up on my feet to do it. So yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Serena.
I think the one thing I want to add is if you are an international student and you do have a playwright in your country, I really encourage like working with that material because it's so unique and it's so from the heart, and only you can give that to an audition panel that might have not even heard of it before. So um, it's a very good idea, maybe just to look at something from home.
Yes, thank you so much for saying that, Serena. One of the things that Serena and I found with the coaching is like if there's anything cultural about you, and I say this for all my students and clients, if you speak another language, if there's a cultural thing, please show it in the room. Why would you not show? I'm a Southern woman. Why would I not connect with something Black American Southern? Why would I not do that? Serena, South African. Why would she not do something from Alpha Fugard, right? She is South African. So there's some information around that also with picking your pieces inside of lighting a fire, inside of showing what kind of artist you want to be. Culturally, that's a beautiful thing, and it does make you stand out because those are your people. Those are your people. Great. Thank you. This is all such good gems. Perfect, perfect. What are some practical things you wish you had known about your audition? Like the day of, the process, the callbacks. how you set up your emotions, just the things that you don't know until you know. I'd love to kind of drop the veil down for the community about that. And anybody can jump in.
I will say about the Juilliard audition specifically, and specifically in New York, they separate you into two sections, the morning section and the afternoon section. And I was placed in the afternoon section, so my audition was at 12 p.m. and everyone's required to get there at like 8 or something, and I had to wait 4 hours to do my audition. So I was in the waiting room for 4 hours, and I didn't know that until I got there and they told me. So that was a shocker. But the good thing is, I'm someone who I think I like to keep to myself sometimes. So I just put in earbuds and I was just listening to music that hyped me up the whole time. And I mean, there are a bunch of different personalities in the waiting room. You be however you want to be, however makes you feel good. I know some people like to chat to get their nerves out. Some people like to sit and just listen to music like me. Some people like to run their lines. Just do whatever feels good. Yeah.
Yeah, I love what you said. Irene said a good thing. Find your process. Like if you're not a chatter, I actually am working with someone now. She realized that she's not a chatter, but she was letting chatters kind of invade her and it threw her off. She got a call back, but then she was off because, oh, they were. So, yeah, that's such a good point about finding your own process in the room. And really great, Irene, for breaking down that veil that, yeah, there's for some of these auditions, you may not go in right when you get there. So, what is your process? What are the warm ups that you have? What are the anchors that you have for your pieces to organize you for being able to show up well in the room? Good. Who else would like to talk about this? Just practical things you wish you knew.
I
John.
could go. So how Yale is set up, they have a morning and an afternoon session, and you sign up for an hour slot. And you have to go to New Haven. They don't come to New York. So you have to think about your travel, what the train time is like. Do you want to sleep in New Haven? Do you want to come up? Like really just think about what's going to be best for your process in order to get you as ready as possible. I chose an afternoon slot so I could take the train up and be there. Again, like Irene said, like people can be chatty. So I think like protecting your energy is really it is a really good thought. So what happens with Yale auditions, they have hour slots, and then at the end of the hour there's a end of hour callback. You walk in, you audition for one of three panelists initially, and then if you get the call back for the end of hour, you audition for all three of them at the same time. And then you have to wait around to the end of morning or end of afternoon, depending on what slot that you go. And if you get the end of day callback, what they call it, it's just an interview. You just hang out, you talk to them, and it's a vibe check. Then from there, you come to callback weekend. They take 32 students for callback weekend, divided into two groups of 16, group A and group B, and you sort of do like a test drive of Yale. They do classes, you do interviews, you meet students, you see a show at the student run theater called the Yale Cabaret. And again, it's another vibe check. Like if you vibe with them, if they vibe with you.
Great. That's amazing. Yes, good. Thank you, John. Serena.
Yeah, this might be like maybe a little bit of an alternative thing that I found. Sometimes you feel a little bit out of body in those auditions when you get there. It's like the nerves really do take over, and it's a high stake environment, and you might not feel as connected or as sturdy as you would have in your coaching sessions, in your rehearsal sessions. And it's very discombobulating. That happened to me. I was like, what's my line? Where's my moment before? What is happening? I have no idea. But I think what happens is that your work really kicks in. Trust in that all the prior work that you put in will come, even if you don't necessarily feel like you're driving the car yourself. So I think that's a really important thing. If you're auditioning for multiple schools, each one will maybe feel different. But even on that first one, if you're like still finding your feet and you're feeling a little bit nervous, I think just know that that's just because you care about it. And that doesn't mean that your performance in the room will be lacking. And I think a lot of people forget that they want to see you and they want to see your personality. And I used to be very presentational. Like, I have to walk in and be the perfect idea of the person I think they want to have at their school. And that's what got me rejected. And
Mm,
then by the last one, I was just like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I'm just going to walk
I
in,
love that.
honestly.
Mhm.
And the last one was the one that said yes. And I
Mm.
think it's just those couple of things that you have to trust in yourself, not only your work, but also who you are.
Yeah,
So yeah.
that's so good, Serena. Thank you for saying that. And I'm hearing a theme kind of pop out from people who are in the places that, you all are auditioning for, is this decentering of like what other people want of you, or the decentering of like what will they think, but really caring about what you want to do and how you want to show up and what kind of fire it sets in you. And I think even about my audition, yeah, I think they saw me. They saw the vibrancy of who I was, and that was it. So shout out to y'all. These are such good tidbits. And that's a really good segue, Serena, into I'm curious for us to share with the group, what kind of prep did you all do? So, some of us had coaches, some of us didn't, some of us went to boarding high schools. So I'm curious if you just share really quickly, like what was your prep process? Did you pull off with friends? Like talk about what that was for when you got in.
I can
Go.
go
Oh,
first.
go, Rainey.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Irene, go ahead.
Um, so my prep process, after I had chosen my monologues, I worked with a coach,
Okay,
um,
good.
and she coached. So we met like I think it was every 2 weekends, and she would give me notes, and then I work on it by myself. And the thing, I mean, I didn't know what I was doing, but the thing that I could hold on to most was I know I can put in the work. That if anything, I can do that. Um, yeah, so that's how I prepared. And then I also like I do it in oh yeah, I did it in front of my family, I did it in front of my friends. I try to do it and I put myself in a bunch of different situations to do it because it's like you can never get enough
That's good
stimulus.
strategy, Irene. Yes.
Mhm. Thank you. You can never get enough like practice. So I remember I did it in front of my friends and I asked my school's theater director if I could do it in our big theater. It's 500 seater. And I did that because I didn't know what the rooms at Juilliard looked like. I
Hmm.
mean, this is one of the audition rooms that I'm in right now.
Oh,
Uh,
everybody take a screenshot so y'all can know.
yes, it's not as big as I thought it would be, actually. I thought we were going to be, I had no idea what Juilliard looked like. That would be like a big auditorium. But yeah, like, I guess my biggest tip would be put yourself in a bunch of different situations where you could potentially be thrown off and get used to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, Irene. And y'all, listen to what she's saying. That's brave. That's actually very brave to go, you know what? I'm going to put myself out in front of all kinds of things and in all kinds of situations. And I'm telling you, in order to go far in this process, you cannot be scared. You can be scared, but you have to figure out how to push past scared, right? You can actually be like, "Oh my God," and like what Serena talked about, but in order to like really move, there's got to be a fearlessness and a like crunch to you where you're like, "Look, all right, here we go." So I love that, Irene. That's really great. Would anyone like to add to that about the the preparation, or
Yeah.
what kind of prep you did?
So I am in a regular scene study class in New York, and I worked with my acting teacher just on my contemporary piece, actually, because I actually love her. But I wanted to work with someone else for Shakespeare because I like the way that they think about Shakespeare differently.
Yeah,
Um, and I think what's important is definitely what Reen just said is like getting in front of people, but also protect yourself from getting too many voices
that's also very
and
true.
like really keeping your true north true north.
Yeah.
So that's
John, thank you, Johnny. Thank you for saying that. Also great feedback. So you're getting this really great balance. It is good to be brave. But yes, if your mom sees it and your mom's like, well, why did you? And it's like, your mom is an accountant. She doesn't need to be talking about your piece. Okay, right? Like, you know what I mean? So Johnny brings up a very, very good point that yes, be brave to share, but protect the thing. Um, Protect that. And also, I think, setting your stages here. Derek is also a coach, setting your stages here, getting people who have done the thing that you want to do, the professional eye does matter. I have a coaching business and I would love to see many of you after this if you want a session, blah, 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 all those different things. But getting a professional eye does matter, or being in a school, or whatever it is, that does matter. And I think what I'm finding out in this process is that a lot of people do get a professional eye in these auditions. So if you're not, that can sometimes put you a little bit, so we're here. We're here. Anybody else want to add to that about how you prepared? Okay. All right, we'll keep going. Okay, so let's segue a little bit into just the actual audition. So, what did the room feel like? Serena, you started to talk about this a little bit, but was there anything unexpected that you didn't realize was happening? And then also, John, so curious about when you do it multiple times, what starts to fall away? Derek, you doing it once before a pandemic and after. So I'm curious if y'all can kind of demystify the room, um, the actual room. So we talked a little bit about getting there, but stepping into the room, talk about that a little bit for the audience.
I think the Actor Studio Drama School audition is actually very interesting because it is in a black box setting and there was lighting. And it's very, actor studio style, which, I wasn't really aware of before I auditioned for the program. And it was a unique final callback audition because they wanted, a scene partner situation. So you had to prepare with a scene partner on your own accord and bring them in with you, and all the lifetime members are there. So it's a lot of pressure. And the one thing I remember was that I walked into this black box and I just saw one spotlight. And I was so like, oh my gosh, like it was very like strange environmentally. And I think what I'm going to hook onto with that is like the environment of the room. Amongst the 9 auditions that I did, there was one commonality is that it feels very devoid of anything. It feels very blank. And necessarily like not necessarily will anyone speak to you. It's very much, run of the mill cattle call, like just one after the next. And I think it speaks a little bit to that you need to know how to slate, how to do it calmly, not in a panicked way. Know that when you're there, it's your time and there's no standard way of doing it. But there is a little bit of an impact that a slate gives you, like a really good slate gives you a breath, just a moment before you just start. It can really center you in a very uh, cold environment, and the panel might not even look at you. They might be scribbling things down, and even if you're in the environment and you're in, the magic circle, you might see in your peripheral vision this person writing something down, and it's high stakes and it makes you uncomfortable. And I think if you prepare with all those little nuances of the room, that it's unlike anything else. I think it really is helpful. And I will say, having done multiple before, the ones that like got acceptance, was really helpful because it sort of gave me a warm up. So I think for everyone going forward, I think the demystification comes with knowing that before you even try with other auditions, because you don't want it to really be a practice. You sort of want it to be something you're aware of. And I think what I can offer is that it's very strange, it's very uncomfortable sometimes for some people, and just do what you can. Prepare a good slate. Go in slowly. There's no rush. There is absolutely no rush. Slate, take a breath, start when you're ready, but like really ready. Don't just rush into it. And yeah, know that that space is yours and you have that slot and they're there to see you and they want you as much as you want them. And you're auditioning them too. And I think that really was a good shift of the mind because you could be auditioning at one school, you're doing your work, it's great and it's strong and you feel good, but you really don't like the feel that you're getting from the other side. That's also important. And I think when you know that it's you're both on the same team, it's a really good shift with mindset.
Yeah, that's a really, really, really good point. And then again, this really beautiful theme of like you being solid with you. You being solid with you. Because you're absolutely right. You can go into these rooms, they may not, it's hi, what are you doing? There's no warmness, there's no hug, there's no hello, hello. It's please, pieces, because you're the 97th person they've seen on a 3-day weekend and they're ready to go, right? So you have to separate yourself from whoever they are and just know like I'm bringing what I'm bringing into the room. Yeah, that's great. Anything else? The audition room.
Yeah, all of that Serena said was awesome, especially the part about you're auditioning them as well. I think the rooms tend to feel cold, and maybe by design, maybe by nature, maybe by something I'm putting on the experience myself, but
Yeah.
they were different. I was in San Francisco, and so NYU doesn't have a building in San Francisco. Juilliard doesn't have a building, so they're renting space, using space. NYU was smaller. They were on like they were at ACT,
Right. Yeah, they use ACT building.
and you're in this kind of like waiting room area, and you can hear the people going in. You can hear their pieces, and so you're kind of getting a vibe check of like, okay, these are the people that are getting called back, so this is what they like, or this is what they don't like.
Wow.
Um, I did have a warm experience at the NYU room, and I had auditioned at like 4 p.m. or something like that. So I was like rested, I was chill, I was doing my thing. And then I wasn't gonna go to the Juilliard audition the next day because I was like, I'm going to NYU. I don't care. Juilliard wants me there like 9 a.m. That's too early. They're bougie. I'm not doing it. And then I rolled up to Juilliard the next morning, and Kathy Hood was there, and Kathy Hood is like I mean,
OG.
literally from heaven. You know what I mean? Like it's just not exactly an angel, and she completely disarmed me, and told me to head downstairs. And I ended up being the first person to go that day in one of the rooms. And what's nice about the Juilliard experience is that they offer you a warm up at the beginning where you get to meet the faculty. Um, yeah, you get to meet the faculty. They lead you through a group warm up, and you would think that that makes you feel, I guess, a little bit more comfortable, and it does for the moment. But as soon as you walk back into the waiting room, it's like back on again. And so I remember walking into the room, and this room being huge. It was like probably what you were expecting, Irene, like a gymnasium type thing. And it's just two people, and it does feel a little cold because there's so much distance between you and the other people. And I just remember being like, okay, so nobody's gonna smile like when I walk in. That's encouraging. Um, and I just remember taking a moment, taking a real moment to just fill the space with presence. My presence, the presence of God. And until I felt that I was filling the entire room, there was something about like taking ownership of the space and being like, you know what, until the next sound that's made in this room is only going to be because I decide to make it. You know what I mean? Like that's how I'm gonna snatch the room up. And then from there the room became mine. But it was about taking that time, like you were saying, Serena, and making sure that like it's just, I mean, it's a rehearsal. I wasn't charging anybody to see these pieces. I'm just like, this is what I've been working on. This is what I got. If you are hungry, you will eat. And if not, it's still on the table. It is what it is. But yeah, that was my experience for sure.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. I'm going to talk about this at the end, but I am doing a live audition workshop and an in-person mock audition. And the workshop, we're going to talk about what it means to be inside of a room. We're out of a pandemic where there was a little bit of a Zoom situation, but like theater is a person-to-person thing. So there is a actual way that you enter into a room. I love what Derek said about um filling a room with your presence, with whatever your belief system is, but also piggybacking off what Irene said, the work. Now, you can't fill no room up if you ain't did no work. Okay. So let's first start there. Make sure we're prepared, right? Make sure we have that happening. But there is a like moment before. Where are you? Being clear about your imagination, all of those different things. And lastly, I love what Derek said about, or well, I think what everybody said a little bit about that you are auditioning them too. These people are looking for their next cohort. They're looking for them. Whether they're cold, hot, whatever it is, they are looking for them and they want you to win. So stepping away from outcome and pleasing them and showing up as your own artist is so important. It's so important. Beautiful, y'all. Anything else on that about the audition room? And y'all, please make sure to drop your questions in the question and answer box. We will answer those at the end.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can talk about the format for Yale a little bit.
Yeah, talk about it. Thank you.
At the beginning of the like morning or afternoon session, all three of the panelists who are Tamala Woodard, Tamala Woodard is the chair of the program, Walton Wilson, voice teacher, and Grace Andarsky, the associate chair of the program. They will do a little meet and greet. They'll tell you do's and don'ts, and then you'll go back to the waiting room, and then you'll be brought in for your hours-long session. There'll be student monitors the whole time who are there to answer any questions for you. Again, do your own whatever you need to do to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And you'll go into one of three rooms. One room is huge. And it has like weird pillars in the middle of it. I remember going to Yale and being like, this is Yale. This is so dilapidated and
Right.
ugly. Like,
Old place.
why is like there mold on the ceiling? Like, it was so weird. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But they say it's about the people in the space, not the spaces. And yeah, so you'll be in one of three rooms. But I think what Derek said is really important. Like, you paid for this audition. You did that application fee, you wrote your artistic statement, you put in all this work to do your time. Seize the opportunity to act. Like, they want to see you in the space. Take your time, fill the room, breathe, and have fun. That's my thing.
Fun is such an important word. That's a really true word. Because, like, at the end of the day got to end. Like, what are we doing this for other than like giving people a moment to have a catharsis and having fun? Like, fun is a big deal. It is. It is. It's called a play for a reason, right? Like, we've heard that. It's called a play for a reason. Um, Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, great. Let's keep going. So let's just talk about really quickly just life inside of the programs. I am curious, I'm going a little off script, but like, was there any, so, we have these like acting school, acting school, acting school. What's some stuff that like you got in here and you were like, oh, okay, they put this on a pedestal, but actually, again, I think the word maybe today is demystifying, but like, can you just talk a little bit about what it is like being in the hallways of these schools and what kind of you didn't know that you know now inside of the buildings? Go ahead, you can pop on.
I think it's beneficial to be really real. I think it's something that does is maybe like a trope of being in drama school, especially if your program is like a 3-year, 4-year program. You're going to be with these people every day for a very long time, and you're going to be working on emotional stuff, and you might have stuff happen to you outside of school that affects the work. It's just the nature of our beings and our instruments. We're very emotional beings. We're very susceptible to feeling. And it is a good rule of thumb, leave stuff at the door. But sometimes for good work, if you do it safely, you bring it in. And I will say sometimes, like, there are going to be personality disagreements. There is going to be friction sometimes, and without even knowing or trying, it's just the nature of the beast. And I think the best advice I can offer, if maybe you're in a setting where there is a personality disagreement, you might not like I don't know, you might have a friend and then they don't stay your friend in the program and stuff happens. Just natural stuff happens, but you all are in it for the same thing. I think my best piece of advice is that despite all of that, what happens in the hallways and things like that, just remember that you should always be kind and you should always be professional. If you embody those two things in a drama school environment, I think you will always come up on top. And it's very important to, like the days are long, it's very, very hard work, but basic things, knowing your life, coming in on time, being prepared, being a good person to work with, are all the basic things that you should always just have in your toolkit. Um, so yeah, I think that's what it is, and I think um, that you might feel like you're hitting a brick wall sometimes when you're doing the work. Like that was something I experienced, especially with doing the Strasbourg and method, and it's a very visceral experience. It's very important to know that it does draw on emotion you have experienced, and it's also important to look after yourself. I lost my mom last year while I was still in school. And I remember that despite everything that maybe there was friction between the cohort and me, or anything that just happens, they were all there and they were kind and they were with me. And and I remember that I said to myself, I need to just make sure that I'm also taking care of myself. That was hard. Moving to New York is difficult. It's very, very fast paced. So to be a good actor and to have a healthy instrument means that you need to also just take care of you. So I think that's what I learned from my experience. And yeah, I hope that can help.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you, Serena, and condolences to you on passing of mom. Um, Irene, I would love for you to just talk about your transition coming from high school. If you could just give us a little tidbit, like coming straight out of a regimented high school experience, being sometimes youngest in the room, and these things. Just talk a little bit about what that transition was like.
Um, Thank you, Serena, for sharing. That was beautiful. Yeah, I think the thing that I had to shift most coming from high school was my mindset, the way that I viewed teachers. Because I mean, Juilliard is this like big name and it's glitz and glam and whatever, and you get here and they're just people. They're your collaborators. They're here to help you get better. And like
Good.
from I mean in high school there's I guess a hierarchical system of like you're my teacher, I must respect you, I must be quiet in class, I must be good and like yes. But when I got to Juilliard, it was like this is your training, this is your time, you're paying the money to come here, so take agency of that. Like be ask for things, don't be afraid to ask for things and take up space. That was the biggest thing I had to learn, and I'm still learning. Take up space because I mean I think as an artist, you have to be afraid and no, not be afraid. You have to be unafraid and be willing to do things that are a little bit unorthodox, say things that are gonna upset some people. Like it, and I mean, it's a time for me right now where I'm learning who I am, what my preferences are, what my taste is in art, and also what my opinions are. And like this is a place, this is like a playground. It's a lab. It's a place for experimentation. So like, and I have to remind myself of this every day. And just because I'm saying it doesn't necessarily mean I'm doing it
Sure.
consistently. But it's a practice of like throwing things at the wall and just being like, if they stick, they stick. If they don't, they don't. And being willing to let myself just fall completely on my face flat. And in the classroom and also in projects that are shown to the entire drama division and also in the hallways. Um, yeah, I think the biggest thing, the change from high school to Juilliard is like taking agency of my experience and being like, I'm the one moving through the halls. No one is moving me.
That's so good. That's so good. And I think for the people in here who are listening, for the parents who are going to be listening to this. That's a big deal with the transition for your child as well, and for those who are coming out of high school. So thank you for sharing that. Anything else from Derek or Johnny that you'd like to add just about being inside the building?
I think I don't know if anybody here watches Big Brother, but that's what grad school feels like to me. Like it feels like a huge social experiment.
Experiment.
Yeah, at Juilliard, we're separated by groups. And so I'm part of Group 56, Irene is Group 57, and just two completely different ecosystems. But in each group, like Serena's saying, you are with these people all the time. And I don't think you're there to be your best self as much as you're there to be your truthful self or your most like vulnerable, expressive self. Um, and because I mean, as me, as Derek, like I have all these things that are happening all the time within me, and I'm paired with 17 other people who also are going through the same things, maybe not at the same time. And so there's bound to be conflict, which doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's, you know what I mean? You actually get to learn from the experience of um, addressing why something hurt you or why something made you feel a certain type of way. At Juilliard, you're with, you know, the BFAs and the MFAs are training together. And so if you're walking into the program with any type of ego about like, well, damn, why I got to be with so and so? They're so old, or why I got to be with so and so? They're so young. You're going to miss the opportunity and the point of like connecting with other humans and other artists who are the only difference is really age. It's not a matter of gift. Everybody got the gift, everybody got the thing. um, but it just sharpens you and it makes you better. And then me coming on the other side of, I had already done high school and undergrad, so being and having, you know, worked a little bit in the industry, coming into school, there was this mentality that I had to shift or check about being a good student and what that looks like. Um, and having to remind myself, oh, I'm grown. Like you cannot talk to me like that. Like you won't talk to me like that. And I think institutions at large are flawed because they're just ran by people in the same way that any institution, the hospital, the church, whatever, like they're just ran by people. And so I think being in a place with the same type of people every day gives you a really unique opportunity to practice different ways of being and also practice different things that are important, like grace and how and patience and it all strengthens your growth. However, it doesn't always feel like that in the moment. So
Okay,
you have to
talk
show
to me.
grace to yourself. You know what I mean? To like um, to make it through. But it's a strange social experiment for sure.
Thank you, Derek. And Johnny, I would love for you to just give us some perspective being going through and outside. When you look back at the experience, were there any things that you could like just share being away from it a little bit? Not that far, but away from it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Yale is unique in that it's not just an acting program, so it has individuals from every different uh, venue. So you have theater managers, you have set designers, you have directors, you have playwrights, and you're all working together. So like Derek just said, Juilliard works with just their cohort. Once you're in the casting pool, you work with all the years all around you. So you're casting plays with everyone. So
Mm,
things that I think are really important, like Serena said, is like your professionalism, how you behave in the room, how you treat people, because people will remember that and relationships matter. So all of the work that I've gotten since Yale is from like my fellow Yaleys, like directors who are directing regionally, for workshops at La Mama, like all sorts of things, but it's just because of how I showed up in the room, and how you treat people matters.
yeah, good, good. Thank you, thank you. And I wanted y'all to get a little glimpse of the inside as you're deciding where you want to land as well. Of course, going through the process. Great. The time is going so fast, y'all. So I'm actually going to skip down just a little bit for some of our questions. I want to talk about this really quickly for that, and then we're going to take some questions from the community, and then we will wrap up, you all. So please, if you all have questions, drop them in the question and answer chat. We will talk about it. I would love for you all to, for those who can talk about it, talk about rejection. Okay. So, there are a finite number of positions at these schools. Um, We've auditioned a few times. So I just want to talk about how do you handle rejection, especially let's say I'm auditioning for 8 or 9 schools, or I'm auditioning for three, or I auditioned last year and I'm coming back this year. Can you just talk about how you organize yourself around handling rejection, bouncing back, getting in, not getting in, etc.? And anybody can take this.
Um, Stacey and I, we always joke about this. I got rejected so many times. Oh my gosh. I auditioned for like 9, 10 schools, and it actually is an interesting thing because Stacey came into my life at an intersection in between that bulk. I think it was after the third audition that I wasn't getting anything from. I was like, I need help. There's something that I am not seeing that I need a fresh professional pair of eyes for. And I found Stacey. And not only did it help to know that the rejections weren't personal because I had learned so much more on the pieces, and I had had a helping hand from sort of like a directorial eye and someone who knows the ropes. It made them like a little bit more palatable. That was the thing. And for me, I flew from South Africa to New York for these auditions, and it was very much make or break, do or die for me. It's like my dream. And to get knock after knock after knock, and you're in a hotel room and you have to wake up, and the next day you got rejected from your dream school, but then you put your makeup on and you take your little book and you go to New Haven, and then you get rejected again, and then you go back to the city, and then you have to do it all over again. And it's very, very soul destroying to get those no's. It has to be said. We all love it, we all care about it, and we all believe in ourselves, I would hope. And you know what it foreshadows, though, I feel, is what you're going to experience in the industry. Very much so. And I think what carried me through was not only the faith that I had because of Stacey and what she taught me, it was the belief in myself, the tenacity that I thought, okay, I will get a yes from a school that sees the goodness and the potential in me. And even if you get one yes out of 9, which is what happened to me, I was so happy that I got one yes, and it felt so good. And it made those rejections feel like a pathway that led me to the right place. And, it very much is a test of grit. It's very much a test of resilience. And I think if you lean into that, think about it as like your Rocky Balboa training montage. You're getting knock after knock after knock, and then you win. Only in the second movie, though, unexpected. It's part of it. And what I will say though, like that same fire, like that belief in yourself, even in the hard times in grad school, that's what comes through as well. So just own it, find it, own it, keep it.
Yeah, thank you for that, Serena. Yeah, y'all, I love us talking about this, and we're gonna hear a little bit more, but it's important that you understand that best case scenario, you get into everything and you get to choose out of all da da da. But most of the time, and especially in this industry, you're gonna hear no a lot, and that's for school potentially as well. And so I love what Serena says, and I say this all the time with my clients and my students. There is a development of grit that you have to create in yourself. And grit, I describe as like the scratch on the bottom of the shoe that you can like get up and you can hear a no, feel it, get back up. And there is a part of that because all of you will hear a no. There's no, it's 100% that everyone will hear at least one no sometime in something. Okay. And so having to organize that for yourself and how to hear the no and keep going is important. Can anyone else add about hearing the no's and what Johnny, I especially want you to talk about that because you had a 3-time experience.
Yeah. because these schools accept so few people, sometimes what I learned is that it's actually not necessarily about you this year.
Exactly. Very
Sometimes they
true.
have like a person like me who had auditioned 3 times and got called back every time. And it was just like, this is not the right fit for you now for this cohort that we're building this year.
Mm-mm-mm.
Um, and I would have gone in 2016, I would have gone in 2018, or I would have gone in 2020, which is when I graduated. And if I had been in those other two cohorts, it would have been a wrap. I would have hated it. It would not been a good time. And my cohort was the exact cohort that I needed to be in. And sometimes, you want that thing, you think like, this is my destiny, this is my year, this is the thing that's going on. But sometimes they're like, yeah, we're really interested in you, but just your metabolism is different from the thing we're creating right now. And
Mhm.
that's okay. And it doesn't have anything to do with your talent. It has to do with them actually trying to take care of you in a really good way, I think.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Johnny. Yeah, that's a really good point, y'all. Sometimes these no's are not even about you and your talent. And that's a part of the reason why it's very important that you do not take these things personal as well. Some of it is okay, you didn't do the work. Like we're not gonna divorce ourselves from that. If you didn't do the work and you get to know, that's because you didn't do the work. Okay. But if you've done the work and you've organized and you feel better, some of it is not even about you and your talent. And I've also had teachers tell me from these schools, yeah, I made a mistake. Actually, yeah, I should have said yes to that person. And I made a mistake. We made a mistake by not saying yes to them. And that person didn't go to school, but they have a beautiful career outside of school. So there's many, many pathways to the thing. Right now, you're pursuing the path of school, but decentering this who they are and keeping yourself at the center. Um, thank you. That's so good, Johnny. Anybody else want to add to that? Just about the rejection portion.
You know, well, let me ask this. Johnny, were you in Cock at Yale Cabaret?
That was the last play that I did at Yale,
Yes,
yes.
it
Okay.
was.
So what's so funny is that as we're talking about rejection, I'm looking at Johnny, I'm like, Johnny looks so familiar. I completely wiped out the fact that I was in final callbacks at Yale in 2020. And so I saw you in that. You were amazing. You were amazing. And that show specifically was like one of the shows, this maybe has happened 3 times in my life where I'm like, I see something and it brings me back to that time where I was a little kid. And I was like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. Like it
Oh,
was really special.
look,
Um,
I love
Now
it.
I bring that up
Oh my
because
God, that's so touching to me. Thank you.
yeah, what? It was amazing. It was amazing. I bring that up because I guess getting rejected made me throw that thing out of my brain. Uh,
You deleted it.
yes, I completely forgot. But I mean, I think I just echo the things that have already been spoken when it comes to rejection. But it's also, I think sometimes we stop at the feeling of being rejected and not the reason why it hurts or why we feel a certain type of way. And I think if we actually just go a couple steps deeper, we can recognize that, like, oh, there's a seed that's been planted in us that reminds us, or that is telling us, like, this is something I want. And just because you get rejected once doesn't mean that the thing is not an opportunity or an option for you. It's just not that. It's just the timing, you know. And I think if you get more comfortable with the timing of your life and when things happen, you don't have to take it so. It's 100% healthy to mourn the thing, or the loss of a thing that you wanted or once desired. But I think um, then what's next? You got to pivot. You got to make another decision or make the same decision just at a different time, and just assess like what worked, what didn't. Um, and this, when you're choosing schools, it may not feel like it, but it's extremely spiritual. Actually, it's extremely like sensitive. Like the schools will have a way of kind of choosing you and revealing themselves. So even with those options that you had, Serena, um or maybe lack thereof, except the one, like it was clear that that's where you needed to be. Like they all kind of, they all just they aligned themselves at the right time. So I think that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you all so, so much. So the time has gone so quickly. So I want to ask some of the questions that have come up. So let me just pivot. Thank you all so much. Drop whatever questions are coming up. And this is actually inspiring me. I think I'm going to do a live or something where I'm going to answer a lot of the questions that came from the community because we're not going to get them answered all today. But I want to answer the questions of the people who are in here now. So first question for my friend Manny. Does it help your application if you have more recent acting credits, or does that even matter? And Irene, why don't you answer that? Because yeah, you're a perfect example.
Yeah, I had like zero acting credits. It really doesn't matter because I mean on Juilliard's website they say you don't really need acting credits. What they're looking for is just your potential and from you. So if you bring yourself, all they're seeing, I mean, at Juilliard, the teachers don't even see your application. They see your audition before that. I think they see your application callback weekend.
Yeah, weren't you getting the callbacks? Yeah.
So confused right now. So like it doesn't matter for Juilliard at least. Yeah.
Yeah. Johnny, do you have anything to add, or Serena?
So
Uh,
I, oh,
yeah.
sorry, go.
Go, Serena.
Okay. So I was fortunate enough to have well, no, I wouldn't say fortunate. I happen to have quite a few acting credits just because I again my child actor, very much the South African theatre community is very small but very like um there's always something on. So I had lots, and it did help in the sense of like I knew how to audition, I would say. That's about it. They never asked, they never questioned. I don't think they even like considered, oh, maybe she's more of a viable candidate because she has more experience. There are multiple people in my cohort that don't have any at all. And again, we are in the same training. So my friend Alexa and me are totally different. Not like quite a few credits versus not many. And we're both getting the same training from the ground up.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best thing. You all start on the same level playing field. And I think if you do have a lot of credits, maybe I encourage you to sort of put them on the back burner and say, let me be a blank canvas. That's what I try to do. So yeah, from this side of the room.
Thank you, Serena.
I think it doesn't matter. I know there's a current third year at Yale who had gone to accounting school before she came there. Um, and sometimes I know on the other side of that, I know a friend of mine was like a lead in a Broadway show who was auditioning for Yale and didn't get in because they were like, why do you want to come here? So it's really, I think rather than thinking about what experience you do or do not have, the question more to ask is what do you want to get from the school?
That's good. That's good. Great. Thank you for that question. Next question from Anonymous. How did you stay confident in the audition room or keep your faith given the competition? I think we've talked a little bit about that, but if anybody wants to just pick that up one more time, just to blast that out. Again, how did you stay confident in the audition room and keep your faith given the competition? I'll just throw this out there. I think we've talked about it a lot, but the confidence has to be internal. It has to be self-driven. And competition, I tell this story, but I think you have to not see competition until it's time to see it. Now, listen, book some sessions with Setting Your Stage. We can talk about it. I tell this story a lot, but I remember looking around at my final callback for Juilliard, and I will just tell y'all this. I looked around and I said, there will not be one person in here that outdoes me. I said that to myself. Now, that's what, handled it. But I promise you, I looked around and I said, I will not lose today. Okay. And so when they said drop down to the ground, I dropped. If they said jump up, I jumped to the ceiling. And I think that's really about the like tenacity thing. That's about the I will not lose thing. That's the Rocky Balboa thing. So, yes, internally we're ourselves, right? But for me, my my drive did say not today. Okay. So I will say that. Anybody want to add to that?
And I will say, to this day, I still remember Stacy's monologue that she did for Juilliard.
Which one, Johnny?
The one with and I wore the pin on my hat.
Oh my goodness,
I will
child.
never
Back in
forget
the
that.
day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, thanks.
I just want to pop in quickly because I'm learning it right now with my third year acting coach, Susan Maslin. That typecasting is a discussion that we have in the industry. We focus a lot on it right now, just in the professionalism, like part of third year. And sometimes your type is just who you are and how you present. And sometimes when they're building a cohort, they look for different types of people. You can't change that because it's you. You can't change how you walk into the room because it would be inauthentic. Yes, when you're playing a character and you're like you're in Sarah Kane's like 2.14 psychosis and you're like vomiting on the floor, like that's not you, but you come in a different way. So what I'm saying is, I think just know that you who you are is is what you should lead with, not try to be an idea of what you should be.
Yeah, 100% Serena. Yeah. So that confidence in the room, the confidence just can be coming from being clear about who you are, being clear about what kind of artist you want to be, being clear about what you want to say through your pieces with that. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Just a couple more questions, then we're out of here. Any tips for prep in between coaching sessions? So I would love to hear from anybody. If you are coaching with people, what's that in between space? Derek, as a coach, do you have any suggestions? Anybody can pop in about that.
Yeah, I think I guess speaking as a coach, like I love working with people. I don't necessarily work miracles, but I do work material. So if you could be really applying the things that we've talked about or that you and Stacy have talked about uh, in the session that you had and then come back and bring that back, we're not going to do the work for you, like Stacey talked about at the top of this. Like there has to be a fire and a reason and a purpose and a drive that you have to come with. We're just meeting you where you're at, and we'll help elevate, in certain areas, but in terms of the thing that like turns you on, that like makes you alive, come alive, we can't we can't ignite that for you. That has to already be something that's um, clear in you. So I think in between sessions, just be applying the things that you learned in the last one. Be asking questions. You can never ask enough questions. You can never be curious enough. Well, what if it's like this, or what if it's like that, or what if I try it like this way? You know what I mean? Nothing is too big, nothing is too small. But well, that's not true, but you have to find the edges of something before you can actually land in that sweet spot. So yeah,
Thank you
that's
for that, Derek. And I will add to, I do this with my clients. If you're working with me, we'll do this. But if you're working with other people, at the end of your session, go, okay, what did we learn? Let's to knock out one, two, three things like, okay, what can I hold on to today? And then knock out one, two, three things of what can I continue to work on. So at least when you're leaving a session, you can go, okay, I know this, and this. And I know that I'm going to keep working on this, and this. I'm going to keep working on imagination. I'm going to keep working on scansion. I'm going to keep working on. So that's a way that you can at least hold on to things. Because sometimes you do train and you're like, we just did a lot of stuff and I feel like I did something, but what is going on? And I used to have that a lot. I'd be like, I know I did something, but I don't know what's happening. So that's a good way to like hold on to the things. Okay, great, y'all. We're gonna keep moving. Couple more questions. We did that one. This is from our friend Ray. I haven't been booking projects for a bit. I've been focused on building my finances and want to get back into the things. Should I book projects and get my resume with more current things on it, or am I fine to try auditioning without the recent projects? And I think we answered that you, like Johnny said, there's a current about to graduate from Yale student who was an accountant in her former life. Okay. It's about where you are now. It's about what you're doing now. It's about the learning and the doings now. Okay. All right. I'm just going to pull out one or two more quick questions and we will close it up. Thank y'all so much. If any other questions pop up, let me see if any new questions have popped up. Okay. I've answered those. A couple of quick questions from the Instagram community. Um, let me pull up the one oh, what did you wear and did it matter? Clothing. I think that is a good thing to talk about. Just talk about really quickly, like there's always questions about clothing. I have clear thoughts about it, but just from those of you doing it, any just one of you can pop in about clothing.
I, for me, I think I wore like a bright yellow blouse.
Okay.
Yellow is my favorite color. So I wore something that made me feel confident, made me feel like I was excited to show this part of me. Um, yeah, I think clothing can be a really big like energy booster. Like this is
Sure.
like it's another part of it's another way to be like this is who I am
Sure.
and
Yeah.
sharing it.
I love that. Yeah. Like you can wear, my big thing is just do not be distracting and don't make any statements. That's all. So if you want to make a statement, don't put anything on your shirt, make the statement with your piece, right? If you want to make a statement, don't make your hair go up to the ceiling with a streak down the middle. Make the statement with your work. So no distractions and also feel comfortable. That's it. So clothing is good. I think last quick question for this. How did you handle redirections with your pieces? So you're in the room, you've practiced, you've studied, you've got your thing really, really strong, and then they start working with you, and all of a sudden, so how did you all handle that kind of work in the room? And we'll end with that question.
I'm I'm very much a person who's like sticks to what I was told. So that was actually a challenging part of the audition for me. I did say to myself in the moment, because again, it's a high stake environment, it's thrown at you very quickly. I think what I did is that I said to myself, okay, do a 180 turn and treat it like an improv. So I on purpose dropped everything I thought, dropped everything I prepared, and dropped everything I knew. Because what they're looking for is that you can have a dichotomy. You can have that change. So as much as you put your effort of thought into what you've prepared, put the effort of thought into going maybe a completely different direction and experiment. I feel that if they've asked you that, there's already interest, they're already keen. So now it's your time to play. So play, play, play.
Yeah, that's really good. Anybody else? Okay, good, good, good. And I would say that with the redirection, I mean, we that's something that we would work on, but I love the play. The play is a really, really good thing. Good, good, good. All right, you all. We are here. I'm going back in the chat. Are there any more other questions, concerns for now for today? Okay, y'all. So for our last 4 minutes, everyone gets a minute. Just last things you would share with the community for the people auditioning this year or next year. What are just some final words that you would give them on this journey that you could leave with them that they can hold on to? So we'll start with Serena and we'll just go in the circle.
Okay. The first thing I just want to say is that rarely, I know it's cliche, I know it's everything. I had this dream when I was 5 years old on the other end of the planet, watching YouTube videos and thinking to myself, I don't know how on earth I'm going to get there or how I'm going to do this, but I want it so much. And I love it so much with all my heart. All I have to say is that dreams do come true. They really, really do. I know that grad school and these big names are very intimidating, and you may not feel that, oh, I'm part of that, I'm good enough, I'm what. There is no limit. There is absolutely no limit. And that fire that you have is what they're looking for if you love it. So I think my thing is lead from the heart and know that your dream really can come true.
Oh, thank you, Serena. That was beautiful. All right, Irene, what would be some last things you'd leave with the community for today?
I think for the audition process, these schools aren't looking for you to be polished completely. They're looking for, are you brave enough to risk a part of yourself to be like, this is who I am? And something that I like thinking about when I'm performing is that this is a gift that I've worked on for so long, that I've made, and it's handmade, and I'm so excited to give it to you. So I think if you think about it in terms of a generous act of sharing something that you're so passionate about, that brings you alive, then you're not thinking about how I'm going to be perceived or what they're going to think, or none of that self-consciousness. I mean, it can get in, but it's like it's a beautiful thing that we do as human beings, to share this with each other and to be like, I'm going to take off my mask for a second, and this is who I really am. So
Yeah.
yeah, think about it as a gift, as an act of generosity, and good luck, everyone.
Oh, that's beautiful, Irene. That's so beautiful. Derek Jackson.
Um, I just say congratulations, honestly. Like on a human level, this is a huge act of bravery. And I think in the moments where you feel nervous or you even feel imposter syndrome, like let that go. I feel like I use imposter syndrome as an indicator telling me that I'm actually where I'm supposed to be.
Mm.
Uh, Imposter syndrome never shows up when I'm somewhere I'm not supposed to be. So just like allow yourself to feel how brave this act of applying to school to pursue your dreams is. You're doing something that most of the world doesn't do or even live by. If somebody's applying for a job, they're not on Zoom a couple days after Thanksgiving for the interview in January. Like it just
Right.
doesn't happen. So like just trust yourself and know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and you will end up exactly where you're supposed to be.
Thank you, Derek. And John Evans Reese, close us out, my dear.
I echo everything that everyone has said. Like I couldn't put it better myself. And I guess what I would add is it's a really cool process. It is really vulnerable, but it's a really cool process because it allows you to examine what kind of artist you are and what kind of artist you want to be. So, as tedious as that artist statement is, it really gives you a minute to investigate why you're doing the thing and what you want to put into the world. And, you don't always get to choose what kind of work you do. You audition for the thing and you get the job or you don't get the job. But this time you get to investigate work that lights you up, that you want to share with the world. And that's a gift because what they want to see is your artistry. So just the time to ruminate with who you are as an artist and what you want to bring forward into the world is a gift, and have fun.
Perfect. All right. All right, y'all. We've made it exactly on the dot. It is 1:30. Thank you all. Ooh, thank you all so much for being here. I just want to really quickly share that we will be doing save the date for our in-person mock audition that is coming up. I'm going to share the screen really quickly, but I just want to thank you all, Serena, Irene, Derek, John, for being here, for sharing your experience. We really need like 10 hours because there's so much to pack into this thing. But I just really appreciate all of the, first of all, for y'all being here, for showing up. I'm so thankful and such gratitude for you all. Um, Thank you all so much for being here, and we'll see you on the other side. Blessings. Have a great Sunday. And please look in the chat. You'll see if you want to reach out for coaching or for additional information. It's down in the chat. And we'll see you on the other side. Blessings, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. And I'm gonna,
Bye.
okay. All righty.
Bye. It was so nice to meet everyone.
Yes.
And so
Bye.
good to see you, Stacey.
Yes, I'll talk to you on the other side.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Love y'all. Bye. Bye, everybody. Blessings. And everybody, I'm going to share this really quickly just so you all can see it if you're still here. Our mock audition.